mountains tremble in the heart of the sea. We will not fear, we will not fear.
Though the nations stumble and the governments decree,
we will not fear, we will not fear. God is our shelter and strength. God is our hope in any trouble. God is our shelter and strength. God is our help in any trial. Now be still and trust and know that God is making peace. We will not fear, we will not fear.
God destroys the weapons and will make the wars to cease.
We will not fear, we will not fear. God is our shelter and strength. God is our hope in any trouble. God is our shelter and strength. God is our help in any trial. There's a river flowing through the mighty heart of God. We will not fear, we will not fear.
Holy One is with us, yes, the Holy One is here.
We will not fear, we will not fear. God is our shelter and strength. God is our hope in any trouble. God is our shelter and strength. God is our help in any trial.
God is with us, and the people say, Here we find new life. It is wonderful to see each of you. Good morning, and welcome to the worship of First Church of Christ in Simsbury. Here, we like to say, no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We're glad to see you if you are here in person, or if you are watching from home, or maybe on vacation, wherever you may be. It is great to be together in person or virtually for worship this morning. Worship today will be led by a few of our graduates. Today we are celebrating all 2021 graduates. As I said, a few of them are leading. We heard just now Gus and Katie singing. Let's give it up. Praise God for Gus and Katie lending their voices to worship this morning. We also will have Riley Duncan, B. LaFranc, and Hadley Myers leading worship. And Thomas Novy will be giving this morning's message. This morning, church school has already started. It's taking place down there in the Memorial Garden. As always, you're welcome to keep children here in worship. Children are always welcome in worship, or you can head down to the Memorial Garden with your kids. All students will come back at the sermon hymn to join for the end of our time together. Bathrooms, if you find yourself needing a bathroom, you can go in the end of the building here. That is the preschool wing. Through that door and down about halfway down the hall. We'll tell you the toilets are adult size. The sinks are not. So just prepare yourselves for that. So like we said, whether you are here in person, whether you are with us virtually, watching from the comfort of your home, know that whatever your age, whomever you love, whatever the color of your skin, whether this morning your heart is filled with joy or sadness, whether you come this morning carrying heavy burdens or this morning your burdens feel light. However you enter this time, bring all of it with you so that together we might discover God's grace and God's love. Let us be together in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of God, come. Be with us this hour. Fill our hearts, open our minds, ignite our spirits. Make us mindful of your presence in our lives. Through our worship, may we hear your voice, recognize your call, and go forth ready and willing to follow where you lead. Amen.
Good morning. Please join me in this morning's call to worship. Welcome to worship, where children and seasoned citizens sit side by side. Welcome to worship, where all is made ready by our God. Welcome to worship.
Hear these words from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my victorious right hand. These are holy words. Thanks be to God. Good morning. My name is Thomas Novy, and 3 weeks ago, my classmates and I graduated from Simsbury High School. We think that I look familiar, but can't quite place me. Maybe because you see me around the church. Just as likely, it's because I love running. I'm running all the time, all over town. I was on the high school track and cross country team all 4 years, and I'll be running at Suffolk University in the fall, where I'll be studying data analytics. I've attended First Church since elementary school, working my way through each grade and eventually joining the Confirmation, JF, and PF youth groups. This morning, I'm going to be talking about fear. Fear is something that lives within all of us. I'm willing to bet that everybody here today has at least one fear, whether it be rational or irrational. Personally, I have a fear of pediophobia. What's that, you may ask? Well, it's the fear of dolls. That's right, I have modern movies like The Conjuring and Annabelle to thank for both the creation and continuation of this fear. Another fear that I have is croniophobia, or the fear of future or time passing. This one fear in particular really started shining through at the beginning of 2021. As I started winding down my college search and the second half of the school year commenced, I began having days where I just felt a little bit nervous and a little bit depressed for no reason at all. I assumed it was just the winter blues and that I'd start to feel better once the warmer weather hit. But it wasn't until I actually committed to Suffolk University back in February that I realized what the problem was, and it was college itself. It wasn't so much fear of graduating or going to college, but more of what the future would hold. I personally feel as though everyone has felt this fear to some extent within the past year. When our lives changed back on March 13th, 2020, a lot of us realized for the first time in our lives that tomorrow is not always a given. We all feared that you would wake up in the morning, watch the news, hear of these horrible cases in New York, and that we would hear that the first case would be found in Connecticut, and soon enough we would have a hot spot as well. I was especially worried for my grandparents who lived down in Maryland, as well as all of my family and friends. During those days, we did everything in our power to make sure that everyone stayed safe, including so many of our family and friends, because we didn't know how long this pandemic was going to last. This caused a lot of people, myself included, to again have chronophobia. One would think that once COVID started slowing down, vaccination rates went up, that my chronophobia would slow as well. But I knew that at the end of this high school year, I just seemed stuck. As I said before, the year was ending, my senior track season was coming to a close, I had the events of prom and senior outing, and I should have been ecstatic. But for some reason, I was fearing what would happen as soon as I threw my cap up in the air on June 7th. On graduation night, about an hour and a half before I had to leave for the ceremony, my parents gave me their graduation gift. In addition to a bucket hat and umbrella, thanks Mom and Dad, I also received a book titled The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charles Macri. When I first saw the book, two things came to mind. What is this book and why did I get it? Both of these questions were swiftly answered by my mom, who said that the book reminded her of me. And as soon as I opened the first page and began reading the book, I knew why, but also began feeling overwhelmed with emotions. There's so many amazing life lessons in this book, such as place is not a home, when you're feeling stuck on a journey, take a look back and see how far you've come, and friendship can be one of the most powerful things in the world. This book follows a young boy who is both lost physically and mentally. Along his journey of finding his way back home, he befriends a mole, a fox, and a horse, all of which help him to learn that the only person who can save himself is himself. This book really made me take a step back and think about just how these life lessons could apply to me. However, there's one quote that stuck with me, and I will never forget it as long as I live. The page reads, "Most of the old moles wish that they had listened less to their fears and more to their dreams." Another way of looking at this is don't let fear stop you from pursuing what you want. For example, if you're worried about going to college because it's far away and you won't be close to your friends or family, then ask yourself, is your fear of going away enough to pursue you from both your dream job and your dream college? As soon as I read this page, I broke down crying. The reason is because it both gave me courage that I needed to not fear the future, but to also use the future as a stepping stone to all the goals that I want to achieve in my life. It also let me know that everything is going to be all right. But this one quote extends way past me. I believe it can be a useful life lesson for everybody here today. If someone here is afraid to start a new relationship because of how horribly a previous one went, or they fear starting a new job because it's in uncharted waters, if this applies to any of you, I would say go for it. It may be scary at first, but the one question you need to ask yourself is, should I let fear get in the way of me pursuing this, or should I power through? As an example, right now, there are hundreds of thousands of immigrants right now down at the US-Mexico border. A lot of people fear that they are going to take our jobs, bring illegal substances into this country, or whatever their reasoning might be. But instead of seeing it as our fear, look at it as their dream. These people want to bring not only themselves, but their families and their friends into the land of the free, to give everyone a better chance of education, jobs, living, and just life as a whole. If we truly love our neighbor as ourselves, we should want them for what we have ourselves. I want to go back and take a look at the scripture reading for a second. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my victorious right hand. I'm going to give a little background into this reading. Isaiah the prophet spoke these words with the people of Israel, who were being held in exile in Babylon. God tells these people of Israel through Isaiah not to fear, because God knows their situation and is walking with them every step of the way. And the same is true for us. God knows our situation and is walking with us every step of the way. Knowing that God is with us throughout our darkest times is a very calming concept to me, because God knows at any point in time what we are going through. And asking for help does not mean that we are giving up. It means that we are refusing to quit. I'm going to leave you all with this. If at any point in your life you are afraid, and especially right now if you are afraid, know that God is with you, and know that you are not alone. Amen.
When the solid ground is falling out from underneath my feet, between the black skies and my red eyes, I can barely see. When I realize I've been let down by my friends and my family, I can feel the rain reminding me. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm.
When my hopes and dreams are far from me and I'm running out of faith, I see the future I pictured slowly fade away. And when the tears of pain and heartache are pouring down my face, I find my peace in Jesus' name.
In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. When the test comes back and the teacher says,
I'm not gonna pass. I did my best, now I'm scared to death that things aren't gonna last.
or when sickness strikes my loved one and there's nothing I can do, my only hope is to trust in you. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm.
Amen. So, graduation Sunday is always just a little bittersweet. Boy, we're so happy for what is in store for these folks. But hearing Thomas, hearing these guys read and hearing this singing just brings back all of the gifts that these young people have shared all their way through First Church. Some have attended church and youth group regularly, almost every week. Some people have been more sporadic with their attendance. None of that matters. What matters is we're all here together. We all came to this time together, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be sending them off on this new journey. And I just hope and pray that what they have given us, that this church has filled their hearts, that they might live with more love and compassion in the world because of what this church has meant to them, what all of you have meant to them. So we're just really grateful for each and every one of you, and all of your friends too that couldn't be here this day, and for all the gifts that you have shared with us. So thank you so much. Yeah. Sitting here, each of them. I'm just going to do this quick. Each of them just has a story. So Gus will be going to Northwestern. He'll be studying theater and English, and Gus he's been on so many retreats. In fact, that song that they sang was from one of our retreats. Just a beautiful thing. Katie has sung in church so many times. Probably best known for her Christmas Eve singing Noel so beautifully every year. And I know you were on the Philadelphia mission trip, right? It's just an awesome experience. Thomas, of course. So his sister Kelsey first started coming to youth group, and I remember Thomas tagging along as a little guy, and he kind of grew up and went through. And of course, we heard his wonderful message this morning about confronting our fears and looking more clearly at our dreams. B, I remember a conversation with B at the old Peaberries with your family saying, hey, what's First Church like? What's confirmation like? And here we are, and did all of that and came all the way through. And Riley, oh my goodness, Riley. It's so awesome to have you here and be here this morning. I remember our time on the Western Virginia mission trip. He was in my small group using the circular saw, working so hard. We had an awesome experience. So, and then of course we have Hadley over here. Hadley, to this day, is the first person, when she was in 7th grade, forced herself onto a mission trip. She's still the only 7th grader that has gone on a mission trip. That's how eager she was, and she continues to be. Her enthusiasm for the church. You're here every morning to set up. You're here every night for youth group, and it's an awesome thing. So just a real bittersweet day. We're going to miss these guys, but we send them forth in love. All right, I'm going to stop. Oh, wait, no. So Katie's going to Northeastern for computer science. Thomas is going to Suffolk University, where he's going to run and also study data analytics. B is going to Hamilton. She's going to study biology. She's interested in being a genetic counselor. Riley is going to Bentley and studying business. And Hadley is going to Colby Sawyer, and she's going to study elementary ed and minor in studio art. So, yes. So we're going to ask you to stand now. Pastor George and I are going to lead a graduate blessing. I have my back completely to the camera. I'm not used to that. All right. So where should we stand, Elliot? So people, yes, maybe like this? Okay. All right. So before you were even formed, God knew you. While in your mother's womb and in your father's arms, God named you. At your birth, God's breath filled you with life. Today we celebrate who you have become and what you have achieved at this moment in time, and so we pray.
God of our beginnings, we thank you for the gifts of these graduates, their excitement, their awesome wonder and curiosity, their kind and encouraging words. Their contributions have blessed and challenged us. We have become a richer and more diverse community because of them.
As they step forward into the world that awaits, comfort their fears with the full knowledge of your divine love and presence. Strengthen their resolve to walk in the footsteps of Jesus as modern-day disciples in a world that needs their energy and their spirit.
Guide their feet as they move through life, protecting them from the pitfalls of darkness, while they help to lead future generations into the warmth and promise of your light.
We ask this blessing upon each of them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay. So we'll share in some celebrations and concerns. Celebrations for all graduates from preschool through college, through master's degrees, whatever it may be. So many 2021 graduates to celebrate this day. We celebrate with Kelsey and Ryan Beach, who welcomed baby boy Morrison Gray Beach on June 25th. He was 5 pounds, 15 ounces, and 19 inches long. Mom and baby are doing well and coming home soon. For Kirsten and Christopher Zaccaro, who welcomed a baby girl on June 18th, Taylor Adeline Zaccaro. We understand that Adeline, the middle name, is would be the great-grandmother of Taylor, and Adeline, the great-grandmother, is in our memorial garden, and so there's a beautiful connection there. Taylor is, of course, granddaughter to Barbara and Roger Spear. For those who graduated from the Connecticut Fire Academy week-long cadet training program yesterday, including First Church's own Ryan Long, just a good opportunity to acknowledge all of those who graciously volunteer for service in their community, and especially our youth who do so. And a happy birthday today. Today is Todd Williams' 91st birthday, so we give a hearty happy birthday to Todd. Prayers of solace and peace for the family of Nancy Glover. Nancy, longtime church member, died peacefully this past week, surrounded by her loving family. We pray especially for Nancy's husband, John, daughter, Susie, and their family. For the family and friends of Daniel Meir, who died in a tragic rock climbing accident. Daniel was a dear, dear friend, best friend of Brendan Scully. For the family of Carolyn Connie Cushman, mother of Rob Cushman, who died peacefully at her home in Proctor, Vermont, after a long, full, and meaningful life. For Sam and Amber Zappia and their son Carter, they have announced that Amber's brain cancer is terminal. Sam is an alumni of First Church's youth groups, now living in Torrington, so we keep their young family in our prayers during this very difficult time for them. For Don Ketchaball, who is in palliative care, and for Ted and Sandy Christensen as Sandy continues her hospice care. We pray healing for those who are sick or recovering from illness. For Jim Q, who is recuperating after a stay in the hospital. Jim fell ill while visiting his daughter Kathy and family in Illinois, and will stay there for the next week or so before returning to Connecticut. It may take Jim a while to get back up to 100%. Just a few weeks ago, he was here helping to set up these tents. Might be a while before he does that, but he is expected to make a full recovery. Prayers for Cy. Cy experienced a heart attack and is having open heart surgery tomorrow. Cy is a neighbor to Annie Petiti. Prayers for Lee Ora as she recovers from mitral valve repair heart surgery, that her medications are adjusted correctly and she regains strength. Prayers for Larry Friel, continues recovery from a terrible bout with COVID. For Debbie Skinner as she awaits spinal surgery. For Dorothy Babcock, who suffered a stroke and is recovering at McLean. Continued strength for Abby Harris. For Jim and Rita Bagnall's son-in-law Douglas, who is undergoing chemotherapy treatment. And for strength for Patty Scanlon. For our wider community and world, we pray for all of those impacted by the building collapse in Miami, especially those injured, the families of those that have died or are missing. For LGBTQ people, we pray, especially youth, that they may find affirmation and love among parents, family, and friends. For the pervasive and deadly impact of racism, we pray for justice. In particular, we pray an end to discrimination against immigrants and those who speak English as a second language. For the safety and protection of all of our elected officials, and prayers that they may lead with wisdom and integrity. I invite us now into a time of silent prayer to consider all the joys and the celebrations of our lives. I invite us now first to enter that prayer that Hadley will lead with a time of silence. Go ahead.
Eternal Spirit, we give you thanks for creation and all that sustains it. For the sun that rises every morning, the clouds that bring rain, and the moon in the dark night sky. Bless us that we may be a blessing to all creation. Heal us, O God, from all that ails us, illness, disease, despair, hunger, thirst, injustice, and so much more. Heal us and all creation. Bless the leaders of nations, fill them with wisdom. Bless the leaders of cities and towns, that all can work in unity for the well-being of everyone, all creation. Help us, O God, to be your disciples, to listen with open ears and heal with open hearts. Heal us, O God, to be your disciples. We pray all of this in the name of Jesus, who taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Good morning, church. We have the blessing of having a number of first-time visitors here this morning, and we are not one of those churches that makes you stand up and introduce yourselves. I trust that will be a welcome news to those of you who are visiting. I never liked that myself. I always found it very self-conscious, but welcome. And just to let you know a few things, obviously this is our outdoor worship. We also stream live online, and that's accessible both through our church Facebook page and also our church website. We are outdoors for a couple reasons. One is we're still moving out of COVID, right? But the other thing you may not know if you are a visitor is that we are in the midst of a major renovation, and the entire inside of the church is really gutted. Everything's pulled up. The sanctuary right here has bare floors, no pews, scaffolding is quite unsuitable for worship right now. And we hope and expect that that will be ready by the last Sunday in September to return, which will be a joyous celebration indeed. Until then, we are likely to be outdoors. There's some chance that we'll get back into our parish hall before then, which is air conditioned. Wouldn't that be great? But again, those of you who are visitors, this is our wonderful blessing for now, is to be able to gather outdoors like this. And so please come back 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings, or if you're not able to, please look for us online. Both for visitors and regulars alike, I just highlight a few opportunities in the life of the church. There's a group of women that meets right in front of Fitzgerald's Supermarket every Tuesday at 9 o'clock right now. So you could just look for people that look like church ladies in front of Fitzgerald's and join. It's behind Fitzgerald's. Thank you, Louise. Well, I would have led you astray. So behind Fitzgerald's, and here's a church lady right here, Louise Gould. So you can look for people that look like her. It's a nice thing. It's relaxed. It's a little chance to fellowship, get to know people better. We have 2 Bible study groups that have continued to meet through COVID and meet still on Zoom. One is one I lead on Wednesday mornings at 10 o'clock. You might think it's a women's Bible study because it's mostly women, but it is not. So men, sometimes I think we grow up thinking Bible study isn't cool. Nothing could be further from the truth. This Bible study is really cool. So please don't be shy about joining that. The Zoom link is in our weekly email. also on our website. And there is a, unfortunately, too well-kept secret that there's another group that meets on Sunday mornings. And that is also a Bible study. They do some variety of things. They do a book study from time to time. I say it's a best-kept secret because we don't do a good job of getting the link out there. We will do better. It will be in our weekly email beginning this week. That Sunday morning group, on July 18th, they're going to begin a brief series about affordable housing. And then following that, they're going to be studying the Howard Thurman book, Jesus and the Disinherited. So lots of good stuff happening there. I'll just note one more thing. We have, for the past 6 months, had a group of 9 members, including myself and Rev Kev, called a Racial Justice Activation Team. And we've been meeting with representatives from 8 other churches over 6 months, twice a month, to educate ourselves about racial justice and anti-racism work in preparation to bring that back into our congregation. There will be a presentation of learning from our group, again online, on July 21st, on the evening of July 21st. So just kind of tuck that away in your memory. We'll be getting more information out about that so you can join and hear some of the really cool stuff that's been happening in the life of the church. So, I'm going to invite the offering. It's a little different. We don't pass a plate here outdoors, but there is an offering plate at both exits. In addition to this season of graduation, we are also experiencing a bit of a baby boom at First Church. Kevin mentioned some of those names. I would also lift up, so we heard about Taylor, we heard about Morrison. Ruth and Amelia are 2 of our other infants in the life of our church. And boy, what could be better, right, to remind us of the value of our giving to the church, because we really, from birth to baptism, all the way through to confirmation, to graduation, and all the way throughout our lifetimes, the church is there for us, and the church is there for you. So keeping that in mind and celebrating all of that, I invite you both to maintain your pledge to the church and also to give as you are able as you leave this morning. We will now receive, well, what do we say here? We don't say we receive our offering, right? Because I guess I'll just say, I'm done.
To this song are in your bulletin, Everlasting Arms. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arm. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my God so near. Leaning, lean to the right first. Here we go. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all. Here we go again. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the one more time. Here we go. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, everlasting arms.
As we prepare to depart this morning's benediction, go forth into the world and serve God with gladness. Be of good courage, hold fast to which is good, render to no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the afflicted, and honor all people, love and serve God. Rejoicing in the power of the Holy Spirit, and may God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God look upon you with kindness and give you peace. Amen.
Feel free on your way out to greet our graduates if you would like.